Hello to all you ladies out there in the world, wherever you are. How awesome it is to speak to you like this. I wish I could see you the way you can see me. Um, I just lost the previous video. I don't know what happened when I wanted to upload it. It was just gone. So we will try this again. But it's awesome to speak to you like this. May the Lord speak to you. May He open your heart to hear what He wants to say. We have actually finished Genesis 1, verse 1. Can you believe it? I hope the Lord really spoke to you, that in your hearts you are stirred in the Spirit, knowing Him, knowing wisdom and the creation and in the beginning. So, but today, for those who know me, especially here in Argentina, they would know Genesis 1 verse 2 is a very integral part of my life. I love the scripture, Genesis 1 verse 2, and what it means to me. When we read the scripture, and I will read from the New Living Translation, it says, "The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters." Now, just thinking, about this concept, how amazing this is. First of all, yesterday we did a study on the power that we have, and the fact that the same mighty power that rose Christ from the dead is in us. We have that because we believe in Him, because He gave it to us. And then in Ephesians 2, he said, we're sitting in heavenly places with Him. He rose us up to this position of authority when He rose Christ from the dead, And then in Ephesians 3, he said that the same, that He wants to do exceedingly abundantly above through us, the power that is at work within us. So this is the power that we have. This is what God gave us, and His Spirit is inside of us. When we have a relationship with God, He is in us, with us. If we believe in Him, that is the authority that we have. Now, the earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of God hovers over the surface of the waters. Now, with this authority that we have, it is so powerful to think, even before God spoke, before He said anything, His Spirit was there hovering. Now, hovering is a very interesting action. Hovering is like a helicopter. When a helicopter goes like, over the land, he's just hanging there, but you can feel it, and you can see the wind, and you can experience the hovering. That is God's Spirit. That is what God's Spirit did right there in the beginning. And that is what we have inside of us. Before we speak, before we open our mouths, the Spirit of God is inside of us, and He can use us to hover. For example, if there is anything in your life that is formless, anything that you feel is not the way it should be, you know that because you are praying and you know what is the will of God, and this thing is just formless. It's just there, and it's not being what it needs to be. Then it's time to let God's Spirit inside of you hover over that area. That is the power and the authority that we have in Him. We can do all things through Christ to strengthen us. It's in Him, in us, that does it. It's His Spirit inside of us. When there's anything empty, take your marriage, your finances, anything that is empty in your life, let God's Spirit hover over it. Put yourself in a position of worship. Be in His presence. Let Him fill you. And then with that power inside of you, hover over those areas. His Spirit is doing it. He is doing it through you. If there's anything, darkness for me is sin. rebellion. If you're struggling with something in your house, with your kids, with anything that is in darkness, allow God's Spirit to hover over it through you. This is inside of us. We can do that if we believe. You don't have to say anything. Just take the fact that we are more than 50%, we are filled with water. This is who we are. This is how God created us. And he said his Spirit was hovering over the surface of the waters. When you are in his presence, you are with Christ, when you are worshiping, when you enter into his presence, his Spirit hovers over those waters in your life. He's hovering over you. He is inside of you. He creates, he rejuvenates, he makes us who and what we are. And this is what we have that the world doesn't have. We have that. We have this authority and this power to hover. Now, when you are going somewhere this weekend, it's powerful to think. When you go shopping, when you go to the movies, when you go to a bride, when you go visit friends, when you go see a family member, think about this, consciously thinking. Let your minds be renewed. This is what God can do. You don't have to speak yet. You don't have to say anything. You just have to be there, because you are a vessel of his presence. We are carriers of the presence of God, the Almighty One, the one who created everything. And if we allow him to use us in such a way, we can enter those homes, we can enter those places, we can be where there's emptiness, where there's darkness, where there's formlessness, and actively thinking, knowing that God is there, and releasing his Spirit to hover. When you enter those places, tell God, tell him to use you, to use his Spirit inside of you to hover. That's why God is saying that wherever we put our feet, he will give it to us. Consciously, we must think like that, so that God can use us to hover, to let his Spirit hover. We have that authority. Don't just use God for yourself. Don't let God be just your God. He is, and he's using us because we are his daughters and his princesses, and we are his children. But he wants to use us to bless others. He wants to use us to have us. I pray that he will use each one of us wherever we are to be that carriers of his presence this weekend. May the Lord bless you. May he use you for his kingdom. May we be the ambassadors that he has chosen us to be. And today I'm greeting you out of Argentina, but the next time I will speak to you, maybe we'll be out of Germany or Paris, because we are leaving on Sunday. And while we are traveling, we will allow God to use us to extend his kingdom and his presence. Bless you. I love you, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.